This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and it's yet another Lenovo Yoga tablet. This time it's the 8-inch one with Windows. We looked at the Android version of this. We've looked at other Windows versions, but this is the Lenovo Yoga Tablet 2 8-inch Any Pen Edition. That means you can use any pen that has metal in it. It's a lead pencil, i.e. graphite, there's metal in there. Your ballpoint pen, it's going to work with this. In fact, Lenovo says use it, things like this even is going to work. We're going to check it out now. So this is the Lenovo Yoga Tablet 2 8-inch with any pen. Any pen means, well, any pen. They're not kidding. Ballpoint pens like this, it's a little scary, right, to think of doing that. The glass so far has taken it. Lenovo has said use things like screwdrivers, USB flash drives, scissors, you name it. Anything that has metal is going to work as an input pointing device with this product. Now, I don't mean that you really should go scrolling with your scissors, but as you can see, it works just fine. And the display is pretty durable. Like I said, in 2 weeks of, well, kind of abusing it, really abusing it, it hasn't shown any damage whatsoever. So it has to have metal in it, like I said. So your ballpoint pen, I haven't had it actually leave any pencil marks or pen marks on the display, but you can use damp cloth, soap and water, that sort of thing, to clean it off. Now, if you want to be a little bit more careful, you can retract the pen so it's not going to leave any ink on it and use it like that. So obviously for note-taking, this is more precise than your finger on the screen and also more precise than a capacitive stylus, which will also work. This is one of those mini ones meant for an iPad. And of course, that too is going to work for those of you who want to be less punishing. But I suppose if you're buying this, the idea is that you want to use something more precise. And Lenovo's trying to get away from active digitizers that require specific pens, digital pens, which are often $50 or $60 in themselves. And this tablet is only $299, so who wants to go spend too much on a pen? And that's the idea anyway. It is a lovely looking tablet. We've reviewed several of the Yoga tablets before running Windows and running Android. As ever, it has the built-in metal kickstand. It rotates and it locks into a variety of positions. You can even hang it up if you want to by this. So you can stand it up. You can bring it all the way down and just use it flat on a table like so, which is nice. It weighs 0.86 pounds, so it's not heavy at all. Construction on the back, it's mostly plastic, but it doesn't scream plastic at you. It doesn't look bad at all. It looks pretty classy and stylish. The barrel hinge allows them to put a larger battery in here, 6400 milliamp, and indeed it's really pretty hard to kill this. This thing is an all-day long kind of tablet. Feels more like a smartphone in that way. There's our headphone jack right there. We've got our rotation button right there. Or you can just let it auto-rotate based on the way that you're holding it using the accelerometer. Volume controls are on this side. We have our micro USB port that does support USB hosts, so you can use USB flash drives, low-powered external portable hard drives, that sort of thing. And that is the power button. No projector on this one, sorry. Front-facing speakers here, as ever with the Yoga family. Pretty good sound considering that it is, well, just a little 8-inch tablet. 1.6 megapixel webcam on the front, and on the back we have an 8 megapixel shooter with an f2.2 lens, and that is right back on the corner here. Slightly odd location for it, and you know, it's actually not bad as tablet cameras go. It's a pretty decent camera. There's a flap on the back here you lift up, and there's a micro SD card slot. There's another blank there. Gee, it makes you think maybe there would be a SIM card in there, but our US versions do not have the option for 3G or 4G. So here we have Windows 8.1 with Bing. That means it costs Lenovo a cheaper license. Really, what it means to you is nothing much. It works just the same. You can change your default search engine from Bing if you wish to, just like any other version of Windows. And this has 32-bit version of Windows installed. Now, some of Lenovo's Yoga tablets have had 64-bit lately, some of the larger ones, but not this one here. We have the 1.33 gigahertz Intel Atom Z3745. That's a quad-core Intel Atom Bay Trail CPU, turbo boost to 1.86 gigahertz. 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, and on ours that leaves about 17 gigs free to install your stuff. So obviously something like this is meant to be your little mobile companion to play movies, to read ebooks, to browse the web, do your email. It's not really for installing every program that you ever own onto the device. Granted, you can install Metro Live Tile programs. They don't really take up much space, and even MS Office itself does it. And you do get a 1-year subscription for Office 365 Personal with the device, which isn't a bad deal, but it's a 1 year only. Remember that. Eventually you'll have to cough up the money and pay for it. It's a beautiful IPS display, 1920 by 1200 pixel resolution, very sharp, very colorful, very clear. And that's important because running Windows on an 8-inch device, at first that was like all the rage, right? Because it was just so amazing. Look, I can run Windows, bearably decent performance on something so small. Now we've seen a whole lot of 8-inch tablets, and maybe some of you are thinking of upgrading to a newer generation from what you have. And you can see here I have 150% scaling right now, and icons are small, but everything is really sharp and super legible, so it's not bad at all. And here's our website here, and everything again is quite legible. That scaling looks very pretty, looks really sharp. I have to say, I enjoyed the display quite a lot. Now you could scroll with your favorite sharp and scary object here, or your pen as I'm doing here. Now here's a Wacom pen, which is an active digitizer pen that actually has a plastic tip. Notice it won't do any good. So those of you who want to use plastic things, not going to work. It's either a capacitive stylus or something with metal in it. Inside we have Wi-Fi 802.11, and it's dual band Wi-Fi. That's nice to see. So you got 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. Bluetooth 4.0 as well. But probably you're interested in how the pen works. So we're going to launch Sketchbook Pro and check it out. Now, this is not going to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. You know, this is a Intel Atom tablet, but it's fine for something like drawing. So I'm going to just draw a little sideways. Now this is hard to draw sideways, so it's not a reflection on the digitizer. It's just to keep it on screen for you guys. It's following pretty well. There's a little bit of pen lag here. We'll do the usual circle test. It trails behind, but it's actually not that bad. So you could draw with this. I personally find it much more tolerable than an imprecise capacitive stylus, which is a really, really fat point, you know. It just doesn't give you much input there. Now, in terms of pressure sensitivity with your AnyPen, really not so much. This is just about making lines on the screen, not about doing fine art. So let's test note-taking next. So here we are in Windows Journal, which is a staple of Windows 8.1. You could also use OneNote just as well. It really doesn't matter, but this one is just a little bit more granular and easy to see. And palm rejection was kind of at a loss there, so let's try that again. Now, if I rest my hand on the screen, it starts to lose track of strokes. So it's not the super best for palm rejection here, since it's taking both inputs equally. But once I take my hand off the screen, then things get better. Not superb, though. Not superb. Now, let's do the same thing with a capacitive stylus. The other end of this is capacitive. Again, there'll be no palm rejection here because this is capacitive just like your skin is. It's kind of hard to write with something this fat, you know? That's the problem with it. But in terms of accuracy of input, they're about on par. This keeps up pretty well, though, I have to say. There's not a whole lot of lag when you're writing something like text on it. So there you go. There's some note-taking with the AnyPen feature for the Lenovo Yoga Tablet 2 8-inch. Now let's see how it does for multimedia playback. We're going to play a YouTube 1080p video. This is our HP Spectre X360, a 13.3 Ultrabook that works with the pen. And you can hear the speakers too. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and here's a Windows convertible laptop that you guys have been asking for. This is the HP Spectre X360. Don't confuse it with the... So it looks quite nice. The speakers are a little buzzy and distorted at 60% volume. You're going to want to whip out your headphones, and I find anything above 55% volume can sound a little bit buzzy and distorted. I honestly think that Lenovo's larger Yoga tablets have the better speakers. They got more room to work with. These two little front guys here, not so much. It is fast enough to handle something like MS Office, and certainly for web browsing, it's absolutely just fine. Pinch zooming speeds are good on this. Video playback, you saw it can handle 1080p video, it can handle Netflix, it can handle Amazon Prime Instant Video, all that sort of thing. This is not something you want to get for software development and compiling thousands of lines of code. You can run Photoshop on here, and it is bearable. If you're working with large JPEGs or RAW files, applying filters, things like that, it's going to take a while. Really, I find it pretty punishing to do something like HD video export or editing on this. So you got to keep it light with this. Good for social networking, good for email. So in following with that performance that we were talking about, PC Mark 7 benchmark, it scored 2412. That's about half of what a Core i5 Ultrabook scores. PC Mark 8, 1048. Usually we see 22 to 2400 from a Core i5 Ultrabook. W Prime, it computed Pi in 31.6 seconds. The norm for a Core i5 Ultrabook would be 18 to 19 seconds. Geekbench 3, obviously the 32-bit test, because it's 32-bit Windows here, even though the CPU itself is 64-bit. Single core, 767. Multi-core, 2515. Following the theme, it's about half to a bit less of what you see on a Core i5 Ultrabook. So it's not going to be your main PC, folks, but since it's an 8-inch little tablet, you're probably not going to try to make it be your main PC anyway, are you? The good news is battery life. Intel Atom is really frugal with battery, and thanks to this big battery in the barrel hinge over here, 6400 milliamps, it is hard to kill this. Lenovo claims anywhere from 15 to 18 hours potentially, and while they, like most manufacturers, are optimistic, they are not super duper off. I mean, I've used this for 12 hours and it still had 20% battery left, so it is a power-sipping product. Now, if you're going to be playing games on this, and I mean Metro live tile games, this cannot run Battlefield 4, not even Diablo 3 or World of Warcraft, really. But if you're playing something like Metro games, and there's some pretty graphically demanding and pleasing games, or you're going to get shorter battery life there, because games just are hard on battery life. But doing pretty much anything else, even streaming video, streaming music, and all that sort of thing, well, you'll get good battery life with this. So that's the Lenovo Yoga Tablet 2, 8-inch AnyPen version. It's available now, like I said, $299. The usual attractive yoga look going on here. It's light. It has a really gorgeous screen. If you're in the market for an 8-inch Windows tablet, and Windows is pretty tiny on 8 inches, but it's doable as we've seen, then obviously this one has an advantage because of the AnyPen technology. Sure, you don't really want to use something totally nasty on it. I mean, if you're like me anyway, but you can use things like a ballpoint pen. It works just fine. You can retract the tip of the pen and just use the metal housing outside, and it is more precise than using something like a capacitive stylus. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to hit that like button.